Oh, hey, you caught me. I was just going to put this in the fridge for tonight. You know, whether it's a night out with friends or just a simple night at home with my beloved wife. Nothing really works like the hand-picked fresh apple taste of Stella Artois. It just makes every night special. Call me, Matt Damon. We'll work on that water project you have. So welcome again to this edition of the Sliced Bread video series from the Who Made These Stupid Rules team. And you know, it was really funny. We were going to do this big presentation today and had all these stories and had all these interesting points that we were going to talk about turning obstacles into opportunities. And as I was working with the team and we were putting together the outline for today, we had this whole thing put together and we were brainstorming, and then something happened. And it's always interesting to me that this sort of stuff always happens to me. If you walk through life with your eyes open, what you perceive as an obstacle can actually be an opportunity every single time. The one thing you have to remember is that the opportunity it presents may not be the opportunity you were looking for. And if you walk through life with blinders on and you're only looking for one opportunity, you're only looking at one sort of thing, then you can miss some of this stuff along the way. And so we were brainstorming, we were working through the agenda for today, and then something happened. Picture it. Dateline. Texas, July 5th. It's the day after Independence Day, obviously. And I was trying to sell a dune buggy. I just don't use it that much anymore. It's a really fun toy. We've had it for 4 or 5, 6 years, and I don't have a time with my schedule to actually go out and play with it anymore. So I'd rather see somebody use it before it goes bad. And I thought, what better time to sell this than in July 4th when we have a neighborhood parade. And everybody dresses up their ATVs and they dress up their classic cars and they put ribbons and streamers and they blare Stars and Stripes Forever. And it's this wonderful family event and they throw candy and everybody cheers on. It's a small business showcase. It's just perfect. And I love this area we live in partly for that reason. And so I thought, what better place than our front yard to put the buggy with for sale signs when everyone else that is in the market will have a chance to see it. So I chain it up to a tree under the shade of the tree, and I clean it up, and I put the signs on it, and I get so many calls during the parade, people asking how much it's for, and what kind of motor does it have, and all that. And so I put it away that night. The next morning, I put it back under the same tree and chain it up, just in case anybody didn't have an opportunity, they had family in town, and they wanted to come by and talk about it the next day. So it's July 5th, I'm at home after the holiday, and I'm working on a presentation, I'm working on a conference that I had coming up that I was going to be presenting at, and there's a knock at the door. And I thought, and my mindset was turning obstacles into opportunities. It's part of the presentation I was going to do. And there's a knock at the door. And when I open the door, it is a code compliance officer from our city. I thought, what on earth could code compliance? I thought, hey, maybe they're here to buy the dune buggy. That'd be great. And I talked to the lady, and she says, we need to talk to you about this dune buggy you have in your front yard. It just can't be there because that's against the rules. That's front yard parking, and the city doesn't allow that, And so I talked to her for a little bit about that. And I said, oh, don't worry. I was telling her the story in 3-part harmony about the parade and how magical it was and how many people offered. And I would assure her that the dune buggy was going to sell today, and so that wouldn't be a problem, but I would move it anyway, and we were talking through options. And so she said, I need to look at other stuff around your house to make sure you don't have anything that's holding waters for mosquito, and all their little checklists. And so I have some time with her, 10 or 15 minutes, and I'm walking around our house with this code compliance officer. And I'm telling her about the book, and I'm telling her about the workshops I do, and I'm telling her about the presentations and the training and removing obstacles and viewing life a little differently. And I just have her giggling and chuckling as we go. And it's always magical because if you can lead with a smile, everybody assumes you're going to be grumpy because they're coming down on you for something. And if you can lead with a smile and you can foster some goodwill, it's amazing what you can accomplish in life. And so I'm talking to her about it. And everything else around our house is in compliance. There's no other issues. And so I end up moving the dune buggy. She takes a picture to prove to the city that we're now in compliance. And I walk up to her truck to talk to her. And she says, you know what? I meant to ask you, what's the name of your book? And I tell her the name, Who Made These Stupid Rules? And I go into some details and I tell her some funny stories. And so she looks it up on the laptop in her truck. She looked, I'm going to have to remember that. And she said, you know what? You need to send a case of your books to the code compliance office, because maybe you could do a workshop for us to help us think differently and help get us out of this rut that we're in when you talk about government agencies and municipal agencies. I said, I would love that. And so what are we doing? I'm working with my team. We're sending a case of books to the code compliance office, and we're going to start working on putting together a workshop for them to make their life a little more special, to help them remove obstacles in their life. And so it's one of these thoughts of all the stories that we were going to put together for the series today about how to remove obstacles and then how to turn the rest of those obstacles into opportunities. And it dawned on me, you just have to look. You just have to put yourself in that mindset of actively seeking out these opportunities, actively seeking some of these things. Why would a code compliance officer buy a book named Who Made These Stupid Rules? Because she took a couple of seconds, she took a couple of minutes, and I talked her through it, and I told her some of the stories and what we do, and it inspired her. And maybe, just maybe, that'll be the opportunity that office needs to thrive. Maybe I'll go in and do a workshop for them. So, although I didn't sell the Dune Buggy, that was my main goal for that day, to sell the Dune Buggy. I didn't sell it to the code compliance officer. But maybe, just maybe, we turned that little obstacle into an opportunity. And that, my friends, is how we create these sliced bread moments in our lives. This is how we find those little innovations. Step outside just a hair. View it a little differently. And then maybe Stella Artois will call me, or Matt Damon will call me to say, hey, let's talk about that water project. You said something about that in your video series. That's how we create those sliced bread moments. So I hope you can look at that and look at stories of your life and say, how many times have I had an obstacle that I turned into an opportunity, and then what amazing things can happen if we keep searching for that. So take that into your world today and go create your own sliced bread moment.